Welcome back to our ZF5 rebuild. This is going to be part 5. This is our final assembly. So I've got our rear half of the case up here, and I've already got our counter shaft bearing race installed. We're going to go ahead and do the same with our main shaft bearing race. I've had them in the freezer for about half an hour. I'm hoping that's enough. We'll see. I just have to get them to shrink just a little bit. And then I have our old race here, which we're going to use to drive in the new one. I've got the case set up on blocks, so that way the aluminum itself isn't contacting either the rag or the steel table. So that way I can get good hits on it without having to worry about it hitting something hard and cracking, right? So I'm gonna go grab a bearing race out of the freezer and I'll be right back and we'll see if that's enough. Okay, they're cold to the touch. Sure I'm putting it in the right way. And that has started. So let's see what happens. That's going in nicely. I'm just working my way around it. We're nice and flush all the way around. So there's both our races installed into the rear half of the case. Also, when I was removing these bearings, I used a tool like this. It's a slide hammer, but it has this special attachment meant for removing bearing races. Once again, thank you, Dad. But you thread your bearing race puller on to the end of your slide hammer. If I was wanting to remove these bearings, I would close my jaws up, slide the jaws in like that, and then I would tighten the jaws up so that all three of those legs contact the bearing race 120 degrees apart. And then just like anything else, I would use the slide hammer. I'd likely have this on the ground like I did the first time, and I would put some weight on it. When the bearing is at room temperature, or rather the same temperature as the case, it's hard to pull out. It really wants to stay in there. Now, your mileage may vary, but with my bearing race puller, I had to grind pretty heavily. I ground probably about 50% of the thickness off of this, which has significantly weakened this, but it still is holding up. And the reason I had to do that was on the other half of the case, which we will soon grab, I had to clearance inside on the opposite main shaft bearing, as it has notches. And so does this one here. We can see it has one notch there, one notch there, and one right there. And it's just hard to get in there. So again, like I said, your mileage might vary, but removing the bearings is pretty simple. They're in there, so don't be afraid to get the case half you're working on nice and secure and just really pull on them. Yes, it's an aluminum case, but that doesn't mean that it's structurally weak. You don't have to beat it too crazy, but anyway, you get my point. So now we're going to move on to the bell housing half of the case, and I'm going to get the case up on some blocks. So what I didn't cover was this. There is a stack that goes in here. So you can see, when you see this first lip right here, that's where an O-ring will sit. This will come in your rebuild kit. And now we take what's called the quill, which your main shaft, or sorry, your input shaft resides in. This only goes in one way. It's clocked right here. So let's get a little oil and lube this O-ring up. But I'll drop the O-ring in, and there's, like I said, there's a stack of parts that go in right now. So first we have our quill, which slides in. And when I say slides in, I mean it taps in. So that is now installed. Alrighty, so we got our seal down in there installed, and now the rest of the stack, there is our oil baffle, which goes in like this, and then we have our shim, and then we stack our racing on top of that, and our racing on top of this. So I got them in the freezer, they've been chilling for a while. So today for dessert, we got a nice big main shaft bearing. Oh, he's chilly. Put him in there, and we'll get ourselves started here with a couple taps. We'll have to blow out our case again. We still got more to go down. Okay, that baffle's tight in there. We're gonna drop our counter shaft shim in, and we're going to drop our counter shaft race in, and we'll get our wood. Okay, both our races are installed into this guy. So we're just gonna gently tap our outer seal here, or our output seal. Nice and flush all the way around. Okay, so no fancy tools here. We're gonna get everything lined up on the edge of the bench like this, and we are gonna wing it. So if you know ZF5s, you know this is the part that sucks. So I'm just trying my darndest to align everything all at once. So our output shaft isn't quite happy where it's sitting. Oh, there we go. Alrighty. We're in the bearing races now. So it takes a bit of strength, but you can do that without the tool. You just got to believe in yourself and wrestle it in. Now I'm going to start these Allens, just get them going, just to help retain everything we got going on so we don't lose progress. So now with those started, I'm going to wrestle this guy in. Didn't really take much because we're not in all the way on the main shaft. But now we are. And that's starting to look like a ZF5 transmission once more. Okay, now these ones, I was able to break free with a quarter drive ratchet. They definitely don't get torqued too much. And there was also no Loctite on these. So at this point, we're now going to drop in our center shift rail. Which just slides in like so. Now, before we go and drop our case on, we got to get our reverse idler gear and our reverse idler bearings. So we have reverse idler bearings, the old ones. Gonna set those aside, and we're gonna get some assembly gel into these. I'm not gonna go too crazy with these. Like just a light coating on these is more than fine. Okay, now we need some reverse idler bolts. So we're gonna start by placing our bearings inside our gear. Then we slide our shaft on through. There we are. Get it into position. And we'll start our screw. Now I'm just snugging this up. I will torque it later. I can put our assembly gel away. So it's now at this point, we get our other case half and we drop it on. I'm gonna go grab some silicone or TV and we're going to do a nice bead all the way around. Of course, we're gonna do a double check and go over everything to make sure we have it all in here. We'll slide our case magnet in, just like that. I think instead, we're going to put the RTV on this half. Just gonna start some bolts here. So I'm gonna get our other reverse idler bolt in here. Let's start the rest of our case bolts. We're gonna torque these to 20 foot-pounds in a star pattern. And we're going to torque the reverse idler bolts to that same 20 foot-pounds. Now we're going to drop in our speed sensor ring, and it goes with the metal side down, and that spaces it far enough away from that back gear. Now we can slide our output yoke on, and we'll begin to thread this on. The torque spec for our output yoke is supposed to be anywhere between 160 to 203 foot-pounds. I've set the wrench for 180. I'm probably just going to end up spinning this shaft. Yeah, exactly. That's all right. Okay, so continuing on where we left off, we got our output yoke all torqued on. Got 180 foot-pounds on that guy. We're going to move on to the buttoning up stages, or the last final stages. We've got our PTO covers, we got our shift detents, and we got our top hat. Let's start with our detents. We're going to drop one in each bore. And we're going to pop a spring in. Then we have our caps, which we'll set on top, and we'll find a punch that fits that. So we'll push it down in until it starts, and then just a couple taps. That one's done. We'll move on to the other one here. All right, so our rail detents are in. So I'll flip this guy on its side. Line up our gasket and our plate, and we'll just start all the bolts by hand. We're going to torque these to 40 foot-pounds. So now we have our top hat. Don't forget your fifth reverse lockout. That just slides in like so. We'll set our top hat down with the ball here facing the back. We'll get some bolts started in here. Yeah, let's just go on a crisscross pattern and just snug them up. Alright, now we'll torque these in that same star pattern to 20 foot-pounds, just like our case bolts. Now for our final step, we have our shifter and our brand new bushing kit, and of course our gasket for that. We're going to install the boot into the plate here first, just like so. I'm going to try and clock that right, and we're going to try and fish this guy in. Hindsight, we're not going to put it in all the way just yet. With our steel ring in place, we can pull our boot back up through. Make sure it looks all pretty. Okay, now with this assembly, we can slide it over top. Just like so. Now we can take our gasket, put it on the top, get our nice brand new shifter bushings, and install them. They just slip on. And then this whole assembly will drop down in, making sure to line up the bushing here with the groove, and the ball with the socket down there. We'll drop a little touch of trans gel on the ball, just enough so it's not dry. Get our screws and start all of them. My screws happen to be a 5mm Allen, so we'll snug them up. And we'll just tighten them now, just snug. So let's do these to 10 foot-pounds. Let's just thread our reverse light switch in here. And we'll just snug him up. And with that, we have a fully disassembled, gone through, and rebuilt Ford ZF5 42 from a 1990 Ford F350. If you enjoy this type of content, definitely let us know and we'll try to keep more coming. If you did, definitely leave a like and subscribe. It helps the channel grow and we post pretty regularly. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.